Okay, let's just get right into it. The era of human-only decision-making, it's over. We're standing on a cliff's edge, and frankly, the ground is crumbling beneath our feet. Today, we're diving headfirst into what we're calling the takeover thesis, a journey into how these autonomous systems are, well, taking control everywhere, from the artist studio all the way to the battlefield. And this quote, this just nails it, doesn't it? We used to think of a machine as just a tool, like a better hammer or a faster car. Man, were we wrong. This isn't about building a better tool anymore. We are creating agents. Think about that word. Things that can see, learn, and then act on their own. This changes everything. It's a complete rewiring of our relationship with the tech we create. So where do we even begin to unpack this? Well, maybe somewhere you wouldn't expect. The world of high art. Seriously. Because the questions being asked here, they go way beyond just tech specs. We're getting into some deep philosophical territory. Like, can a robot actually have a soul? Can a machine truly be a creator? And right here, this is the core conflict laid bare. In one corner, you've got the human touch, all that passion, that soul, even the beautiful mistakes and imperfections that make something human. And in the other corner, the machine. It brings something totally different to the table. Absolute flawless precision, incredible speed, and a scale that's just hard to even comprehend. It's that classic fight, right? Gut instinct versus cold, hard math. So you're probably wondering, how does this actually play out? Well, get this. In the legendary marble quarries of Carrara, Italy, where Michelangelo got his marble, companies like Robotor are using these massive robotic arms to do the grunt work. We're talking 99% of a sculpture, carved with an accuracy that's just insane. Then a human artist comes in for that final finishing touch, that last 1%. And listen, some of the biggest artists in the world are secretly using this stuff. The argument for it is that it's not about replacement, it's about empowerment. It makes art possible that before now you could only dream of. The robot is basically the new apprentice. But as you can imagine, not everyone is on board with this. There's some serious pushback. An artist from Tuscany, Michael Moroni, put it so bluntly, it kind of sends a chill down your spine. He said, if you use a machine, you become a machine. And that really gets to the heart of the fear, doesn't it? That in this race for perfect efficiency, we might be trading away the very soul of what it means to create something. You know, the struggle, the passion, the human spirit that gets poured into the work. All right, so we've talked art. Now let's pivot to economics, because this is where the stakes get a lot higher. We're moving from the sovereign creator to what we're calling the sovereign worker. We're not talking about replacing the sculptor's chisel anymore. We're talking about replacing human labor, period. And we're talking about replacing it with something they're calling the superhuman employee. So, say hello to Atlas from Boston Dynamics, and please get the image of a clunky, pre-programmed factory robot out of your head. This thing learns. So how does it do it? Well, first, it copies human movements that are captured with sensors. But then, and this is the part that is just wild, more than 4,000 digital versions of Atlas train for hours and hours inside a simulation, basically failing over and over until they get it right. And here's the kicker. When one Atlas learns a new skill, that knowledge gets zapped to the entire network. They all learn it instantly. It's a hive mind. You know, someone asked the CEO of Boston Dynamics, Robert Plater, a very direct question. They said, so you are creating a robot that is meant to exceed the capabilities of humans? His answer? Just 2 words. Why not? I mean, there's no ambiguity there, is there? The goal is out in the open. They are building machines to be stronger than us, tougher than us, and just plain more capable than us. And they're designed specifically to take over all those grinding, back-breaking jobs. And if you're thinking, okay, but why the big push? Well, let's talk money. The market for humanoid robots like this is predicted to hit, get ready for this, $38 billion. And that's just in the next 10 years. So yeah, this is not some quirky science fair project. This is a massive economic tidal wave, and it's building momentum as we speak. Okay, deep breath. The tension is about to go through the roof. We're leaving the factory floor behind and heading to the modern battlefield. And this is where the idea of sovereignty becomes deadly serious. Because now we're talking about handing over the ultimate decision, the decision of life and death, to a piece of code. Now, it is absolutely critical that we understand what autonomous means here. This is not a drone with a pilot sitting thousands of miles away holding a joystick. No, we are talking about a weapon system that can, on its own, search for a target, identify that target, select that target, and engage that target. All of it without a single human being in the loop to say yes or no. The founder of Endoro, Palmer Luckey, and his company is right at the bleeding edge of this tech. He makes a really provocative case for it. He says, and I quote, "There's no moral high ground in making a landmine that can't tell the difference between a school bus and Russian armor." His whole point is that the choice isn't between smart weapons and peace. The choice is between smart weapons and dumb ones that kill indiscriminately. But that leads us right to the fundamental, terrifying question, doesn't it? Okay, great. The machine can tell the difference. But who writes the code that tells it the difference? Who sets the rules of engagement? And when it goes wrong, and it will go wrong, who's accountable? The programmer who wrote the code? The commander who deployed it? The machine itself? I mean, who do you put on trial? And look, this isn't some late-night dorm room debate. This is happening on the world stage. The United Nations Secretary General himself has called these weapons politically unacceptable and morally repugnant. So you can see there's this massive split happening globally about whether this is a line that humanity should ever cross. And that brings us to the end game, the final frontier. The point where all these different threads, the artist, the worker, the soldier, they all converge. We're talking about the sovereign mind. This isn't about AI that can do one thing well, like carving marble or moving a box. This is the quest to build artificial general intelligence, AGI, the whole shebang. And don't think for a second this is some far-off sci-fi dream. Look at this timeline. It's happening right now. We went from basic chatbots to perceptive AIs like Google's Astra, which can see and hear the world just like we do, in the blink of an eye. And now we have active AIs that can actually do things in the world for us. The CEO of Google DeepMind, Demis Hassabis, thinks AGI is maybe 5-10 years away. The speed of this is it's breathtaking. You know, the stakes really could not be higher. AGI is this coin with two completely different sides. On the one hand, you have this incredible utopian promise, right? Curing all diseases, solving climate change, creating what they call radical abundance for everyone. But on the other side, you have total peril. Bad actors getting their hands on it, humans losing control for good, and a desperate, reckless race where everyone cuts corners on safety. It is, without a doubt, the biggest gamble humanity has ever made. So what's missing? What's the final piece of the puzzle that these incredible systems still don't have? Well, if you ask the people who are building them, they'll tell you it's all the stuff that we think of as uniquely human. Real curiosity, imagination, that gut feeling, intuition. And maybe the biggest one of all, the ability to ask a totally new question, a question nobody's ever thought to ask before. For now, at least, that spark, that's still ours. Which leaves us with one final sovereign thought to chew on. Demis Hassabis got to sign the Nobel Prize Book of Laureates for his work, but what happens when a machine makes a discovery that's worthy of that prize? When an AI is the one that deserves the Nobel? Will we humans even get an invitation to the ceremony? And that's really the question, isn't it? What is our role going to be in a world we're building so fast, a world we might not be in control of for much longer?